We have all been there. You are staring at a blank page, an empty gym bag, or a daunting project folder on your desktop. You want to start. You know you should start. But the gap between zero and somewhere feels like a canyon. Most people try to bridge that gap with willpower. They decide to change their life on a Monday morning, committing to 2 hours of intense work. By Wednesday, they've burned out. They think progress starts with a huge decision, a new routine, a perfect plan, a fresh burst of motivation. But real progress usually starts much smaller than that. It starts with one tiny action. That is the power of the 5-minute hack. Here's the idea. Tell yourself you only need to work on something for 5 minutes. Just 5. No pressure, no big promise, no expectation that you must finish everything. Only start. That small shift changes everything. Because the hardest part of almost any goal is not the goal itself. It is crossing the line from thinking to doing. From "I should do this" to "I'm actually doing it." And your brain doesn't always like that line. Your brain loves comfort. It loves familiar habits. It loves saving energy. So when something feels difficult, unclear, or slightly uncomfortable, it often pushes back. That's why starting can feel strangely heavy. Not because the task is impossible, but because the beginning feels expensive. The 5-minute hack makes the beginning cheap. It tells your brain, relax. This is not a huge commitment. This is just a small test. And when the pressure drops, resistance drops too. Now here is where it gets interesting. Very often, once you begin, you do not want to stop. Why? Because motion creates momentum. A blank page becomes a sentence becomes a paragraph, a short walk becomes a real workout, a quick review becomes a focused study session. The brain likes progress more than hesitation. Once something is moving, it becomes easier to keep moving. That is why 5 minutes is so effective. It is small enough to start, but strong enough to create a shift. And even if you stop after 5 minutes, you still win. That is important. Because the goal is not perfection. The goal is proof. Proof that you can begin. Proof that you can show up. Proof that zero is not where the story ends. That is how habits are built. Not through dramatic changes, not through one perfect day, but through repeated tiny wins. So next time you feel stuck, do not ask, "How do I finish this?" Ask, "What is the smallest 5-minute version of this?" Want to write? Write one line. Want to clean? Clear one surface. Want to learn something? Read one page. Want to exercise? Move for 5 minutes. Make it small enough that you cannot talk yourself out of it. Because once the first step happens, the rest becomes much easier. And that is the real secret. You do not always need more motivation. You need a smaller starting point. So if you are waiting for the perfect moment, stop. Pick one thing. Set a 5-minute timer. Start badly. Start small. Just start. Because the moment you begin, you are no longer at zero. And from zero, everything changes. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. The next videos will rewire how you think, work, and live. This is just the beginning.